All right, everyone, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of startups. We're talking all things small business, and let me tell you, we've got a treasure trove of insights to unearth.
You know, it's funny, most guides jump right into the passion behind starting a business. But this one, this How to Start a Small Business Guide, it takes a different approach, doesn't it? They really hammer home the importance of identifying a problem first.
It's like they're saying, hold your horses on that passion project first. Let's figure out what the market is craving. Kind of a refreshing take, right?
Absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot where a genuine market need overlaps with something you're genuinely passionate about.
Okay, so let's say I'm a baking enthusiast, cakes, cookies, you name it, I'm your baker, but I also got to make sure people actually want my delicious creations, right?
Precisely. That's where good market research comes in. It's not enough to just love baking. You got to know there are enough hungry customers out there who are craving what you're whipping up. Otherwise, you risk pouring your heart and soul into something that just won't sell.
Speaking of things that don't sell, the guide mentioned the self-cleaning dog bowl. Remember that one? The inventor probably thought it was pure genius.
Right. I mean, on paper, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want a self-cleaning dog bowl? But then reality sets in.
And dog owners everywhere are like, I'll stick to washing it myself, thanks.
It's a perfect example of how even a seemingly brilliant idea can fall flat if it doesn't solve a real problem for enough people, or if people aren't willing to pay for the solution you're offering. That's why market research is so crucial. It's about validating your assumptions and making sure you're building something people actually want and need.
And once you've got a handle on the market need, that's when you can really start mapping out your path to success with, you guessed it, the dreaded business plan. Now, I know. Just hearing those words can make some people break out in a cold sweat.
It does have a way of sounding a bit intimidating, doesn't it? Like this massive, overwhelming document.
Exactly. But the guide does a great job of breaking it down into manageable chunks. And one thing they really emphasize is the importance of that executive summary.
Oh, absolutely. That executive summary is your business's first impression. It's got to grab the reader's attention from the get-go and leave them wanting more.
It's like that elevator pitch you've probably heard so much about, but on paper. You need to succinctly communicate what your business does, who it serves, and why it's uniquely positioned to succeed.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
And speaking of unique, let's not forget the importance of highlighting your unique selling proposition, or USP, in both your executive summary and throughout your business plan. This is what sets you apart from the competition, what makes you stand out in a crowded marketplace.
Right. It's not enough to just be good. You got to have that special something that makes you irresistible to your target audience. But even the most irresistible business idea needs a solid financial foundation, which is where those all-important financial projections come into play.
Yeah, this is where you demonstrate that your business isn't just a pipe dream. It's a viable, profitable venture.
And to do that, you got to dive into the nitty-gritty of your financials. How much is it going to cost to get your business up and running? What are your operating expenses going to look like? How much are you going to charge for your product or service?
It's all about painting a realistic picture of your financial future, both for yourself and for potential investors or lenders.
Right, because let's face it, those investors and lenders, they're not just going to take your word for it. They want to see the numbers. They want to see those cold, hard figures.
Absolutely. And it's not enough to just present a rosy picture of endless profits. The guide emphasizes the importance of considering different financial scenarios.
What if sales are slower than expected? Or what if the cost of raw materials suddenly skyrockets? Having a plan B and maybe even a plan C is essential for navigating the inevitable uncertainties of the business world.
That's where having a solid break-even analysis can be a game changer. It helps you understand exactly how much you need to sell to cover your costs, that point where you're no longer operating in the red.
Okay, so break-even analysis, it's like finding that financial sweet spot where you're not losing money, but you're not quite swimming in profits yet either.
Exactly. It's a crucial tool for making informed decisions about your pricing, your expenses, and your overall sales strategy, especially in those critical early stages of your business.
Speaking of critical early stages, let's move on to the less glamorous but equally important legal side of starting a business. First things first, you got to choose the right business structure.
Right. Are you going to fly solo as a sole proprietor? Maybe team up with a friend or colleague and form a partnership? Or perhaps explore the world of corporations or LLCs.
So many options. It can definitely feel a bit overwhelming. But the guide does a great job of breaking down each structure and highlighting the pros and cons of each one.
And they rightfully point out that for many small businesses, especially in today's litigious environment, forming an LLC or limited liability company can be a smart move.
Right, because an LLC essentially creates a legal barrier between your personal assets and your business dealings. So God forbid if your business faces legal trouble or, insurmountable debt, your personal assets are generally protected.
Exactly. It provides a level of personal liability protection that sole proprietorships and partnerships just don't offer.
Which can be a huge weight off your shoulders. It's not something you want to think about, but hey, it's always better to be safe than sorry, right?
Absolutely. And the guide actually gives a really relatable example of a bakery owner who faced a lawsuit after a customer had a severe allergic reaction. Yeah, it's a tough situation, but because the bakery owner had structured their business as an LLC, their personal assets were protected.
Wow, that's a really powerful illustration of why having that legal separation is so crucial, especially in industries where there might be inherent risks. But of course, choosing the right structure depends on your specific circumstances, so consulting with a legal professional is never a bad idea.
Absolutely. When in doubt, seek expert advice. It's always better to have a clear understanding of the legal and financial implications of your business structure from the get-go.
Right. It's like they say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Starting a business, it's exhilarating, it's challenging, but it can also be incredibly draining. You're so laser focused on building your dream that it's easy to neglect the most important asset you have.
Yourself, right. It's like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And this guide, it doesn't shy away from that. It actually dedicates a whole section to the importance of entrepreneurial well-being.
Yeah, they really emphasize that prioritizing your own well-being isn't just some woo-woo self-help concept. It's a smart business strategy.
Because let's face it, when you're running on fumes, your decision-making suffers, your creativity takes a nosedive, and let's be real, you're probably not a whole lot of fun to be around.
Definitely not. And the guide highlights this study. It found a direct link between an entrepreneur's well-being and their company's success. Burnout, stress, lack of sleep, they all take a toll, not just on you personally, but on your business as well.
It's like they always say, health is wealth, right? And that applies to our mental and emotional health just as much as our physical health. But when you're caught up in the whirlwind of building a business, it's easy to let self-care slip to the bottom of the to-do list.
For sure. It happens to the best of us. But the guide actually offers some really practical tips for incorporating self-care into your routine, even when you feel like you're constantly running on a hamster wheel.
One that stood out to me was the idea of micro breaks throughout the day. We're not talking about jetting off to Bali here, but just taking a few minutes to step away from your desk, stretch, clear your head, maybe listen to a favorite song.
Absolutely. It's about hitting the reset button before you hit a wall. And the guide also talks about setting boundaries, which I think is huge for entrepreneurs. It's so easy to let work bleed into every aspect of our lives, especially with our phones constantly buzzing with notifications.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like that work-life balance tightrope act. 1 minute you're answering emails at the breakfast table, the next you're negotiating deals from bed.
Right. It's a recipe for burnout. The guide suggests, if possible, creating a designated workspace at home. A place where you can shut the door and leave work at work, so to speak.
It's about creating those mental and physical boundaries that allow you to truly disconnect and recharge, which, let's be honest, makes us much more pleasant to be around. And speaking of support systems, the guide also emphasizes the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people, both personally and professionally.
Absolutely. Having a network of supportive friends, family, and fellow entrepreneurs who understand the unique challenges of this journey is invaluable.
It's like having your own personal cheerleading squad. They're there to celebrate the wins with you, offer a shoulder to cry on when things get tough, and maybe even offer a fresh perspective when you're feeling stuck.
Exactly. And the guide also suggests joining online forums or communities for entrepreneurs in your industry. It's a great way to connect with like-minded people, share resources, and learn from each other's experiences. Realize you're not alone in this crazy entrepreneurial journey.
It's all about building that network of support, both online and offline. Because let's face it, entrepreneurship can be a roller coaster ride, but hey, we wouldn't have it any other way, right?
Absolutely not. It's all part of the adventure. But now Let's shift gears a bit and dive back into the nitty-gritty of launching a business. Specifically, let's talk about a topic that often feels like this big, scary monster: marketing.
Oh yeah, marketing. It's one of those things that can either feel super exciting or totally overwhelming depending on the day, especially with the digital marketing world constantly changing and evolving at warp speed. How are we supposed to keep up with all the latest trends and algorithms?
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
It's a valid question, and honestly, it's something even seasoned marketers struggle with. But the guide does a good job of breaking it down into more manageable steps, starting with the foundation of any good marketing strategy, crafting a clear and compelling brand message.
Okay, so before we even think about algorithms or fancy marketing funnels, we need to nail down what our brand is all about.
Exactly. It's not enough to just tell people what you do. You need to connect with them on an emotional level. Why should they care about your product or service? What problem are you solving for them? What makes you different, unique, special?
It's about telling a story, right? Capturing people's attention and making them feel something. But that's easier said than done. How do we even begin to craft a brand message that truly resonates?
Well, the guide suggests a really helpful exercise: creating a brand persona. Basically, it's a fictional representation of your ideal customer. You give them a name, an age, a job, a lifestyle, even outline their hopes, dreams, and frustrations.
So instead of trying to appeal to everyone, you're laser focusing on this one ideal customer, really understanding what makes them tick. Precisely. And once you have a clear picture of who you're talking to, crafting a message that resonates with them becomes a lot easier. You start to understand their pain points, their aspirations, what keeps them up at night.
And then you can position your product or service as the solution they've been searching for. Okay, so we've got our brand message nailed down. Now it's time to get that message out into the world, which is where those marketing channels come into play. But with so many options, social media, content marketing, email marketing, paid advertising, where do we even begin?
It can feel like a jungle out there, right?
Yeah.
But the guide, it emphasizes that it's not about being on every platform or trying to do everything at once. It's about choosing the channels that align best with your target audience and your overall business goals. Right, so if our ideal customer is hanging out on Instagram, we probably don't need to spend all our time and energy on Twitter.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder. And they give some really helpful tips for creating engaging content for those channels too.
Because it's not just about being present, right? It's about creating content that people actually want to consume, content that grabs their attention, sparks their interest, and maybe even makes them chuckle.
Absolutely. The guide talks about the power of storytelling, using real-life examples, and even injecting a bit of humor and personality into your brand voice.
Because at the end of the day, people connect with other people.
They do. And speaking of connections, let's not forget about the importance of SEO, or search engine optimization. The guide provides a really good crash course on how to optimize your website and content so that Google and other search engines love you.
Because let's be real, when was the last time you scrolled past the first page of Google search results? We want to be front and center when people are searching for businesses like ours.
Precisely. And while SEO is a long-term game, it's crucial for driving organic traffic to your website. But they also touch on paid advertising, like those ads you see on Google, Facebook, and Instagram.
Ah, yes. Paid advertising, the fast track to getting in front of your target audience. But it can also be a bit of a money pit if you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. The guide talks about the importance of targeting your ads effectively. So you're not just throwing money at random people, but reaching the right people with the right message at the right time.
It's all about maximizing your return on investment, or ROI, as the cool kids call it. And speaking of connecting with your audience, we can't forget about email marketing.
Ah, yes, email marketing. It's often overlooked in today's social media-obsessed world, but it remains one of the most effective ways to build relationships with your audience, share valuable content, and ultimately drive sales.
It's like having a direct line to your customers' inboxes. But just like with any other marketing channel, it's not just about blasting out random emails.
Right. The guide stresses the importance of building an email list organically, providing value with every email, and respecting people's time and attention. No one wants to be bombarded with spammy emails.
It's about treating your email list like a VIP club. You know, offering exclusive content, special discounts, maybe even a sneak peek behind the scenes.
Exactly. Make them feel special. And remember, marketing, it's not a set it and forget it kind of deal. The guide encourages entrepreneurs to constantly track their results, analyze what's working, what's not, and make adjustments along the way.
It's all about being adaptable, staying curious, and never stopping learning. Because like we said earlier, the world of marketing, it's constantly evolving.
It is. And that's part of what makes it so exciting. But now, let's shift our focus to that pivotal moment we've all been waiting for, launch day.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground, from that initial spark of an idea to navigating the wild world of marketing. But now it's time to talk about the main event, launch day. All those late nights, all that hard work, it all leads up to this moment.
It's like the grand finale, the culmination of all your blood, sweat, and tears. And the guide, it really emphasizes making it count.
They actually suggest treating launch day like its own mini marketing campaign, which I thought was interesting.
It makes sense though, right? You're not just opening your doors and hoping people wander in.
Yeah.
You want to create a buzz, generate excitement, make it an event.
Exactly. And they have some really clever ideas for doing just that, like creating a countdown on social media, offering launch day discounts, maybe even hosting a giveaway.
Oh, giveaways are always a hit. People love free stuff. And it's a great way to drum up some excitement and get people talking about your brand.
Right. Free publicity, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
And speaking of publicity, the guide also talks about the importance of reaching out to local media and bloggers.
Definitely. Getting featured in a local publication or on a popular blog can be huge for driving traffic and building brand awareness.
It's like that stamp of approval from a trusted source. But launch day, it's not just about attracting new customers, right? It's also about wowing those first few brave souls who take a chance on you.
Absolutely. First impressions are everything. The guide suggests going above and beyond to create a memorable experience for those early customers.
Like maybe handwriting thank you notes, offering a surprise discount code, or just making sure they feel super appreciated and valued.
Exactly. Little gestures go a long way in building customer loyalty, especially in those early days. But as exciting as launch day is, it's just the beginning, right? What happens after the confetti settles?
That's when the real work begins. And this is where the guide really shines, I think. They don't sugarcoat it. They emphasize that building a successful business takes grit, determination, and a whole lot of adaptability.
Because no matter how much you plan, there are always going to be unexpected challenges, unforeseen obstacles, moments where you just want to tear your hair out.
Oh, tell me about it. But the key is to not let those challenges derail you. It's about staying flexible, being open to feedback, and always, always learning and growing.
Absolutely. And the guide encourages entrepreneurs to actively seek out opportunities for growth, whether that's attending industry events, taking online courses, or connecting with mentors and fellow business owners.
It's like they say, when you stop learning, you stop growing. And in the fast-paced world of business, if you're not growing, you're falling behind. But they also stress the importance of celebrating the wins along the way, no matter how small.
Yes.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and grind that we forget to acknowledge our accomplishments and appreciate how far we've come.
So true. They actually suggest keeping a victory log where you jot down all your wins, big or small. It's a great way to boost your morale and remind yourself that you're capable of amazing things.
That's like that little pat on the back we all need sometimes. But ultimately, the most important takeaway from this guide, and I think it's a great message to end on, is that entrepreneurship, it's not just about building a business. It's about building something you're truly passionate about, something that lights you up inside.
Absolutely, because when you're passionate about what you're doing, the challenges feel less daunting, the setbacks feel less discouraging, and the rewards are that much sweeter.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to all you aspiring entrepreneurs out there, our advice to you is simple. Find your passion, find your people, and go after your dreams with everything you've got.
And never be afraid to ask for help along the way. There's a whole community of entrepreneurs out there who've been in your shoes and are eager to share their wisdom and support. And who knows, maybe our next deep dive will feature your entrepreneurial success story. Until then, keep dreaming big, keep hustling hard, and we'll see you next time.